Welcome back, guys. Last week, I started a series explaining my recent project, which is the analysis of sales, customer purchase patterns, CLV, and market basket for a digital media store. So, for this project, I uploaded my database into SQLite since the database is in an SQLite file. And from there, I wrote queries to extract the tables or columns I needed. I created five tables. First of which is the artist album table, which is just a table that I use to extract all the columns that I need for my analysis. I extracted columns from all the tables, most of the tables here, and the columns include the invoice ID, invoice date, customer ID, the track ID, track name, all through this. And then from there, I also calculated my amount. I already did a video description of how I extracted, all the columns into this single table. And the video is part of this series. I will also put a link to the video in this video description. So the next thing that I did was to create a table for the customer lifetime value, CLV. Now to calculate the CLV, which is the metric that provides insight into how long a customer has been actively purchasing over time, I needed to calculate three metrics. The purchase frequency, which is how often did the customer buy from the company. The average purchase value, that is the average of the total amount bought by each customer, and then the customer lifespan, which is the duration between the first time the customer bought from the company and the last time the customer bought from the company. The CLV is calculated as the product of the average purchase value, the purchase frequency, and the customer lifespan. Now, to calculate the CLV, I used what is called a CTE. Now, a CTE is simply like a set of queries that helps you to create a temporary table within another query. So, for instance, now I use the CTE to create a table called purchase data. So, this purchase data, this is the table. This is a query that creates this table, and it is a temporary table. So this purchase data extracts the customer ID from the sales albums table. It also extracts the purchase frequency, which is simply the count of the invoice IDs. That's the invoice ID is representing the transaction ID. So this is the purchase frequency just calculates the count for each customer. So when you're picking a customer ID, it calculates for each customer, and then it now calculates the average purchase value per customer. So that's how much, that's the total amount. We already created a total amount column in the artist album table, which is the product of the unit price and the quantity. So we already have the total amount for each customer. So here, so here, so here we're calculating the average of that amount as the average purchase value, and we're rounding it to two decimal places. So that's why we have a round here. So we're rounding it down to two decimal places. So these are all going to be from the artist album tables, and we are grouping by the customer ID. Now, the second city within this query is the customer lifespan. So now to get the customer lifespan, I already explained that the customer lifespan is simply the difference between the first time the customer purchased from the company and the last time they purchased. So the difference within the period that we're looking at, we're going to convert it into days. So it's going to this Julian day function is going to convert each parameter into days, and then we'll now divide it by 365 to get it in years. So that will now represent the customer lifespan. So they're calculating the last purchase date minus the first purchase date divided it by 365 to get the customer lifespan. And these are all from the artist album table. So now we have two temporary tables, the purchase data and the customer lifespan table. So we have those two tables. So from these two tables now, we are now going to extract and create our customer lifetime value. So here I'm going to say PD dot customer, that's purchase data, which is this temporary table now. Now we can call the temporary tables that we've created with the CTEs, even though they are not actual physical tables, we can call them. So this PD dot customer ID, that's the customer ID, they are already present inside the purchase data. So we don't need to reference the artist album table anymore. So we are now referencing this new table, the purchase data, as if it were a physical table present in our database. This purchase data and then the customer lifespan is this customer lifespan. I represented it with CL as alias. That's alias. Remember alias? I spoke about it in my earlier videos. So we're giving it an alias. So customer lifespan as an alias, even without the as. I can put as here if I want, and I may decide not to put as. So it still takes it as an alias. So if I put as, it's still the same thing. So that purchase that from our purchase data table, that's PD dot customer ID, is the same thing with the customer ID in the customer lifespan table. So we don't actually need to call it again from there. Then PD dot the average purchase value, which we calculated up here in the purchase data table. That's the average purchase value. Then the purchase frequency, which you also calculated in the purchase data table, that's the PD table. Then the CL, the customer lifespan, which is the one we calculated here. So I called that as well into my new table. And then this, I rounded all of it up to two decimal places. So to get the customer lifespan, that's the product of all those three variables, and as the customer lifetime value. So this is how I got the customer lifetime value. So by the time I run this, we now have, so you can see that we have our columns, which is the customer ID, the average purchase value, the purchase frequency, the customer lifespan, and then the customer lifetime value. So this is how I calculated my customer lifetime value. And then of course, I just, rather than saving this table, I just downloaded it so that I have the table, and then I saved it after downloading. And so this is how I created my customer lifetime table. In the next video, I'm going to show you how I created the next table that I created was the customer segmentation. So that was the next table I created. And after the customer segmentation table, I also created the market basket for tracks and the market basket for albums. So I'm going to take the customer segmentation table in the next video. In the next video after that, because I still have to show you the visuals in Power BI. All these tables, I extracted them, created them, performed my analysis here, and then I now moved the tables to Power BI for my visualization. So I extracted all the tables and then moved to Power BI. So in my next video, I'll show you how I performed the customer segmentation. So thank you for watching. I'll see you again soon. Please remember to subscribe to this channel for more videos. Thank you.